Okay, so just as a general kind of beginning to this episode, Julie and I are going to talk about some more serious topics concerning like customer service and
just stressful customer service situations.
Yeah, so this is not as much of a sit back and overreact as much as it is an overreact and overreact. So just be mindful of that. If things like that are a trigger for you, this is your official trigger warning concerning if you have an anxiety towards like retail or, retail and customer service experiences.
But other than that, enjoy.
Other than that, enjoy. Three, two, one. Hi. What's
Hi.
up?
Welcome.
How is the wife and children?
Or the husband,
child.
or both,
Or
both.
Why do we keep doing this? No.
I don't know.
No.
Anyway, welcome to Sit Back and Overreact, the show where you sit back and we overreact. I'm trying to say it slower because I've been told I talk too fast. Not even on the podcast, just in everyday life. What are we doing today, Heather?
I already forgot.
Well, yeah.
No, we're gonna talk about our experience, kind of just like working, like our first jobs, also kind of like customer service. Both of us have worked in retail/restaurant businesses, and we're gonna kind of talk through our experience doing those things before like COVID hit.
Yes, that's and also after COVID hit because.
Oh yeah, fair.
Yeah. All right. So who's going first?
You start.
Okay. I'm gonna look at my notes. Okay. So yeah. First of all, before we get into this, I definitely should say that here's the thing. I don't think this is true for either of us, but I'm not good at customer service jobs. I'm just not good at them. I'm just not compatible with that environment. I have terrible social anxiety. I realized I like working where I don't have to talk to a lot of people, or if I do, then I know exactly what's going on. Which is a lot. So I just want to make that clear because I don't know, I worked with a lot of people. I've worked with a lot of waitresses and hostesses at restaurants that really love that kind of work and are really good at it and enjoy the environment and being chatty and all that stuff, if that makes sense. But
right.
I should explain that off the bat because part of it is dealing with really terrible customers and really awful situations, but part of it is just I'm not good at talking to people or selling things to people. Yeah. But I guess we could just both start with our first jobs. Heather, what was your first job?
Well, I kind of have two answers to that question. Because the first I guess over the course of both of our lives, Julie and I would help our mom with her health food stuff. Before getting our first jobs, we would both. Oh yeah. Every once in a while, you remember we used to work the sample booths at the stores that she would work at, the health food stores. So that was the first time we ever got paid to do stuff. But my personal first actual job was working at a popular shoe store as a salesperson. It was the lamest thing ever.
Oh my god!
It's funny because I applied, for the record, I think we're gonna try not to say any names.
Not of course, literally no. We don't want to get sued. We just want to talk about our experiences and not
100% no names at all. But so it's the super popular shoe store, but this shoe store had a women's only entire different brand of shoes. Mm-hmm. So it was in the mall, so I went to the mall and there was the super popular shoe store, the one that I applied to, and then downstairs in the corner there was this weird women's shoe store that was technically a part of the same company, but it was a different store. So that's where I worked. I was in the not cool shoe store. I don't think I fit the cool meter, and also I was just terrible at that job.
Oh man,
I was so bad at it. Because it was all commission based, so you get paid minimum wage, and then if you are a really good salesperson, you make a bunch of money, whatever. But yeah, no, I sucked at it. It was terrible, and I quit after a month because I got a different position at my what I consider my real first job, which was at a party supply store.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So what about you? What was your first job? I can't even remember.
No, I remember. My first job was the bakery. I already lost my notes. What the heck? Oh, where did they go?
I have
Oh,
37
they're right
tabs
here.
open.
I literally do. No, my first job was I was a dishwasher for a bakery for like a year, maybe 2 years. Well, it was kind of tricky because it was a very small local bakery where I was from. And like halfway through, like it shut down and I got let go. And then, what was it? I think because I got hired, I'm trying to remember, but like my senior, like before the beginning of my senior year of high school, I got hired and I worked all that year. But then like that summer I got laid off because the restaurant went under for financial reasons. And then I got hired again for like 6 months, and then same thing happened. I wasn't able to come back, if that makes sense, because they had to close for financial reasons.
For the record, this is probably the most amazing bakery on God's green earth.
That's literally true.
Sucks. Yeah, I think they also had to close because of COVID and whatnot, but we've been going there since we basically moved to the area.
Yeah.
And we're good friends with like the owner and whatnot. Our dad was good friends with the owner, and yeah, we love that bakery so much. We like take everybody that we like there and be like, you gotta try this bakery.
That's true.
It sucks that they always struggled with stuff like that, but yeah, and I also worked there for a brief period of time. We'll get to that later.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I mean, honestly, words are hard. Yeah, honestly, the first thing I have to say is like I loved that job. I kind of loved that job. That mostly because I was a dishwasher for a period of time, and then I was a cook for a period of time, and it was such a small business that like it always felt a little hectic, but it never felt too hectic. And I enjoyed dishwashing and cooking, which were both activities that I could do by myself and find a rhythm to. So yeah, it was so much better than serving, which I never ended up serving, thank God. I was terrified to do that. But yeah, like I really enjoyed working there, and like my boss was really nice and stuff, and it was just awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that I'll talk about my experience there, which was also very positive in a little bit. So yeah, you enjoyed working there, and it was fire. It was good. Let me think. So my first job was, like I said, at a party supply store. I worked there for like, I don't know, maybe a year and a half, somewhere around there. Yeah, so like I really liked this job as well. That's why I worked there for so long. I worked there from the beginning of my junior year, to the end of my senior year. So it was like a year and a half, or maybe more than that. I actually can't remember. No. It was the beginning of my senior year to the end, and then a few months of my senior year. So I really liked this job a lot. I was either working as a cashier, or I would go around the store and put things back if they were like thrown in the wrong place, and then I would sometimes do things like stocking, but the majority of the time I was either doing like recovery and care of the store, or doing the cash register, which is funny because I actually preferred doing the cash register because I got to waste more time.
Nice.
Like,
nice.
If you did the recovery, you were literally working and walking around the store for 5 hours straight, and you were just like picking things up, putting things back in the right place. You would like walk around every single aisle with a shopping cart. You'd pull things forward. You would take things that had been put in the wrong place and put them back, whatever. So I preferred being a cashier, even though I had to talk to more people. For me, like, I think I would much prefer being in a job where I didn't have to talk to people, but also I think I kind of get a rhythm when talking to people. Like, I'm not like sitting here like, ooh, I like your shoes. Like, my first job at the shoe store, I had to do that. Like, they forced me to go up and be like, it was like a 4-step process where it was like, okay, step 1, greet the customer. Step 2, compliment the customer. Step 3, ask the customer if there's something that you can get for them. Step 4, go back and get, this is 100% true, go back and get it. And then bring 4 other items for them to try on.
That sounds like a nightmare. I would hate. Like, okay. So sorry to be like interrupt, but like,
go ahead.
In a shocking turn of events or a plot twist or whatever, I'm trying to be dramatic. I ended up working at the same party supply store that Heather is talking about. Like, basically, she worked there up until she moved to Florida, and then I took her place. Because I wanted a second job. Which I'll talk about the first job later. But the job I worked adjacent to it, but I worked at that place as well, and I don't think it was as bad as that. Like, I feel like because I love clothes and I like going to clothing stores, but I'm terrible terrible at like, I don't know, I would not be good at that environment because you have to actively sell something to people. Whereas like at the party store, it's more like people have questions about things and you have to like answer their questions. It's less of a personal experience. With clothes, it's like, I don't know how to explain it, but
like I get it. And I get it. You know, part of it is like, yes, your job there is to tell people, you know, whether or not you have something in stock, and if they come to the store, you know, I get it. It's part of the job, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you are freaking out and screaming at somebody over like, an hour and whatever.
Yeah,
true. Priorities in order.
I
like,
know.
And I get it. I much preferred working at the party store. And I also just thought it was really fun to like go in on a Saturday morning and then fulfill a bunch of balloon orders for like kids' parties and stuff. I always thought that was really fun. Like just sitting there and, you know, kind of getting into that groove of just tying balloons. I'm like a master balloon tire still.
I don't know. I was very upset, and I tried to explain to my coworker, and he was like, yeah, try and make sure it doesn't happen again. I don't know, man. It was just a lot. That's probably the worst thing that happened at that store, but in general, it was not fun. I was not, you know, like, I don't know how you liked being at the cashier, because I didn't. Not if we were really busy. If we were really busy, I wasn't a fan. And, like, sometimes, like, one time, oh, God, this was awful, but one time, like, our credit card machine stopped working, so we could only take cash, and everyone hated us for it. And, like, it was even trickier if something like that was happening, then the managers would start getting really overwhelmed, and that was even more stressful to worry about, because like if they don't know how to fix it, I don't know how I'm supposed to fix it, so that's like even worse. Oh God, what else happened? It was worse during the holiday season as well. I only worked there like 4 months because like I basically helped them at the end of like their big holiday season, and then I timed my 2 week put 2 weeks when you put in your 2 weeks. I don't know how to talk. I timed that to where like I would be able to finish out their busy season because I didn't want to be rude. Something else that I wasn't used to before, because like I had never experienced this as a job before, but like again, we were severely understaffed all the time. Right. But like one morning my manager called me and I'm like, hi, what's going on? And she was like, listen, we need you for more hours. And I was like, oh, okay. And like I understood why, but it was also like it was my second job I was working, and I was full-time at school. So it was like, I don't know what you expect me to do besides not, like, put in, basically, there, I don't know. It was very strange, and it was very, like, it was a weird conversation to have, and it was like, do you think I want to work here for the rest of my life? I really don't. I don't want to be rude, but it's like, I'm going to school for this thing, and anyway. I think that's all the really bad things that happened. So basically, I wasn't used to, we were very understaffed at this particular store. That's why I got hired so quickly, because they were very understaffed and they needed people. But it was literally so understaffed that like, if I was at a cashier and like I was at the cashier and I was like getting someone checked out, if the phone rang, I had to get it. There was no one else there to get it. It was so stressful. Yeah. And like I don't know if that's normal places. It probably is, but I was not used to that. And it was like, my brain can't function if I have to focus on both things. One time I literally tried to, obviously I'd done this multiple times, but like I think my first time doing it, I was like trying to call, and then the lady I was checking out was yelling at me because I wasn't paying attention to her, and I was like, I'm sorry, I don't have anyone else to do this. Anyway, this particular day, someone called asking if we had coconut bras available, and I had like vaguely remembered seeing in the store where they were, and like I didn't have time to look it up on the thing, and like I didn't have time to buzz someone, and I was literally checking someone out at the time, so I wanted to get this exchange done as quickly as possible. So I was like, yep, I think I know where they are. I think I saw them the other day. Great. And she was like, thank you so much. Like an hour passes and she shows up and they're not there. And I don't know why they just weren't there. And I like double checked with like a coworker, and I was like, hey, are they there or not? And he was like, yeah, no, I think we're out. And the lady was so mad at me. She was like, you gotta be kidding me. This is ridiculous. I drove all this way, and like my coworker was mad at me, so I had to he helped me call the other store, a neighboring store, and get her like 25% off. And like she was furious, and I was like, there's nothing I don't know. There was nothing I could do because I don't know. It was I'm literally gonna start crying. No, I'm not gonna start crying. That would be really weird.
Be able to recognize that and whatever, and that's also just come from a lot of years of not wanting to put up with complete garbage. Like, I just didn't want to deal with that. So, and there were times where I did like freak out because I did something wrong or whatever, but it's like, there's only so much I can do as I'm one person. I'm not in a management position, like
Exactly.
there's not a lot I can do. But yeah, there was another time where this lady bought balloons for her wedding, which, for the record, come on.
Like my previous like really long-term job was at a restaurant, like a much bigger restaurant than the bakery that I worked at when I was 17. I worked there for I worked at this particular place for like 3 years, and I've got a lot of stories from this place. But Heather, do you want to go over do you want to go over the rest of your like what's the word, customer service?
Paw Patrol balloons sitting right next to her. Customer what? What did you just say?
It was an accident. It was an accident. It was an accident. Heather, you know what? I think it would be sexist to bleep that. That's what I have to say.
And then sometimes they're like shiny versus like matte, whatever. Then there's like the 12-inch ones, and then we also had 24-inch balloons. A lot of times people would order those to do like the gender reveals. They would order a black 24-inch balloon, and they'd put like the blue or pink confetti in it. But this lady had ordered just like a bunch of orange 24-inch balloons with like, frilly stuff, whatever. It doesn't matter. But yeah, I took the order. I placed it. I set it for the day that it was supposed to be filled, whatever. And she was like kind of sounding a little bit like mean and short, whatever. But I was like, okay, I don't really care. Because I wasn't the one who's going to be filling the order. Like, I put the balloons in the bag and it was going to be filled for a different day. And I was also working the day that it was filled, but I wasn't working when it, like, I wasn't the person to physically fill it, but I was the cash register, like, when it was, like, up on display waiting to be picked up. And apparently there was something wrong with it. I don't even remember, but this crazy bridezilla, like, made my manager cry.
Yeah.
And she went to the back and just cried her eyes out. And she was like, and I'm like, this is not worth it. Like, sure, you want a nice wedding and it's great, but come on, like, you are hurting people. Like, these are people. They're
horrible.
Not your slaves. And I think that was one of the things that really kind of gave me that attitude about it. Yeah. Because yes, you do want to make the customer happy, but if it's like impacting your own mental health to the point where you just have to like put on a smile and then walk to the back and just bawl your eyes out, like, that's not okay, Yeah. So that's kind of what gave me that opinion on it. Yeah. Anyway, I think I kind of like developed a shell when I was working at unnamed party store. I almost said it.
Yeah. No.
And also the bakery. I worked as a server there for 2 months right before I left. Yeah. I did like double shifts between the party store and then the bakery, just because I was trying to save as much money as possible before I left for Florida. But yeah, I worked there for a few months, and at that point, that was the first time where I got like really upset for doing something wrong. Like, I accidentally forgot to put somebody's order in, and I just felt so bad. And I cried my eyes out. And the owner was super nice about it, and also the person was super nice about it. I wouldn't have been upset, but I tried to pay for her meal, and she got mad at me.
Well, oh no.
Like,
that's a turn.
Yeah, I know. I like, I know, it was so funny. Like, I felt bad because I forgot to put her order, like, I forgot to put her ticket back. And it was just like this nice old lady. And I went to pay for a meal out of my tips because I felt really bad. And I went up to her, and I still was like feeling guilty. And I was like, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's covered." And she's like, "No, I'm paying full price for it."
That prioritized. I needed someone to do it, so I tried to be polite. And again, we were both under a lot of stress, but I was trying to be polite. And I was like, "Hey, when you have time, as soon as you're done with this, if you could please go to this section of the restaurant, that'd be great." And he turns around at me. He goes, "I'm the only one here," and he just yells at me. And I just turned around and ran away. I just ran away. I didn't know what else to do. Anyway,
that sucks.
Yeah, he got fired like a few weeks later. Not because of that, obviously, because I think he got fired because like he kept calling in sick, and everyone knew he was calling in sick, but like he wasn't actually sick. He just didn't want to come to work. He was just really awful. He was not a good person. I was not a good fit, but sucks. Yeah, that was never fun. There was this other girl that was there. I won't go into everything, but she really was a lot. Like, she really wanted to be, she was a hostess, but she really wanted to be a server, but she was kind of like me, where she struggled socially and like with social situation, which I completely understood, but like she she could not like anytime I gave her the iPad to look around, she always messed something up, and like she was very slow a lot of the time when she was working, and like sometimes she would disappear a lot of the time. Like if she was like door lead, if she was supposed to be at the hostess stand, she would just like sometimes wander in the back, and then if I was like busing, I would have to go up there because no one was at like in front and the host stand, because she just disappeared for 10-15 minutes at a time. And like I tried to give her a benefit of the doubt. I tried to give her the benefit of the doubt for a really long time, but then she told me this story about oh my gosh, she told me this story about her wedding. Honestly, anytime she brought up her wedding, she seemed really stressed about it. It was always a negative story, which I felt really bad about. I was like, oh god, you must have had a rib. Anyway, but she told me this story about she told me about how she had been married for like a little less than a year at this point, but she told me how like the woman who, like, I think it was a baker or something, the woman who baked her cakes or something baked the cake of her wedding. She told me how like she kept calling her. She basically, and this is what she said, yeah, this lady that like made the cakes for my wedding, like she keeps calling me and sending me mail, and she's like, oh, if you don't pay me back, I'm gonna sue you. And I'm like, lady, you need to relax. And I was listening to her tell the story, and I'm like, you haven't paid her for your wedding, for doing a service at your wedding? And she was like, well, I didn't have any money. And it's like, listen, like I can understand.
Over a year.
Yeah, maybe. I think it was less than a year. Honestly, I don't remember. It was a very significant amount of time. It was longer than it was like, listen, I understand like being tight with cash, and like if you need to like do install payments, if it takes you a while to pay people back, but like if someone does a service for you, you need to pay them, especially if it's a creative thing, like, you know, like, I mean, obviously I don't know anything about like the wedding baking world, but like, you know, I have a lot of friends that like do photography and videography for weddings, and they get the short end of the stick all the time too, or like, not really, but like people try to like, basically, I feel like people don't take creative professions as seriously as they should, and it's just like, exactly, so like, I was listening to that, and I was just like, you're not a very great person. I don't know how else to say this. So it was just it was insane. She was bonkers. Like I didn't know what to say. Like, what do I say? Like, I think you should pay her back, or like, I didn't know what to say to her about this. Anyway, I won't talk about that for her anymore, because like there's too much going on with her, but yeah, but anyway, aside from those couple people, in general, it was a very positive work environment. Even our management was really great too. Like if I was sick and like spontaneously and I couldn't come in, like people were mostly really nice about it. Or like our management was really chill about it. Obviously they didn't want anyone sick in the restaurant. So it was like, you know, they took that stuff very seriously, and like were very understanding. If I ever got in a car accident, they were understanding, like, you can't come into work, we get it. And that also did come from like, even throughout like the 3 years I worked there, we were never terribly understaffed, you know what I mean? Because that was something we were very lucky to have. Anyway, sorry, I've been talking a lot. Do you want to share a story from your pizza place?
I'm about to rock your world.
Oh no.
I'm about to throw in some straight up terrible stories in comparison to that. You were like,
oh no.
Oh yeah, you know, I really liked working at this place.
Listen, I'm starting with
fun. And the only bad thing is that somebody didn't pay somebody a cake for their wedding. And I'm about to drop the whole. Yeah, most of my coworkers did drugs in the bathroom.
Oh no! Oh my god! Oh my god!
I worked at a significantly more sketchy.
That's
place.
true. That's true.
Which, I mean, I was kind of okay with it because A, I lived really close, and B, I made a really good living working.
Yeah, that's true.
As a server, because you know my thing is like with school, I have so many classes, as we've talked about before, and having a high pay for very little work is ideal. So I would work 3 days a week, and I would be able to make plenty to pay for my rent and you know, groceries and all of that.
Yeah, and that's like great. Honestly,
but
yeah, I mean that's honestly awesome though. Like if I should also mention, I worked at the restaurant I was talking about for 3 years, and I never served. I never wanted to serve. I didn't. And I hear what you're saying. Like, Julia, why did you work at a restaurant if you never intended to serve? That's a great question. Because there was nothing else I could think of to do, and I didn't. You know, I for a long time I had this. Oh God, I'm totally ranting about myself. myself in the middle of your story. I'm sorry, but
Go ahead.
but no, like I definitely had this mindset in my mind, like if I'm gonna work, then I need to like especially in restaurants, and working at this restaurant, like I felt like I needed to like basically it wasn't work unless I was like really stressed out all the time. Does that make sense? But I feel like I hope in the future I have like and I kind of do now, but I hope in the future I have like a work environment that I don't feel truly mentally unstable in all the time. But like that was kind of my mindset for a long time. Like if I'm not mentally unstable, if I'm not on the verge of a panic attack every day, then I'm not working hard enough. Which is not great. I definitely know now that there are, you know, workplaces that aren't that bad. And that's really good. I don't remember what I was going to say with that, but I remember now, like if that wasn't the case, if I didn't have terrible social anxiety, I would totally be a server, because like they make a lot of money, and you made great money working there, because like serving makes you a lot of money compared to other stuff.
Yeah, and then I don't want to give myself too much credit, because I did work in a split tip environment, which if you don't know what that means, is basically like, say 2 servers are working, you pool all of your tips and then you split it in half, so there's no competition for any like big tables or anything like that. So for that reason, we did make really, really, really good money. And then, you know, we also kind of got along with one another well, because there was no competition in that way. So that was like killer. Like I was able to make as much as everybody else, and I'm not like socially prolific or anything. So it's not like I was sitting here like flirting with all of the guys doing them, you know. That's not like what was happening. I was a very, very dorky, very like straightforward kind of server. Like unless like somebody like a regular would come in, sometimes I would like bond with the regulars, and they would recognize me and they would say hi and all of that. But for the most part, I was just like, hey, can I get you something to drink? Cool. And it wasn't like I was like mean or anything. It's just I just wasn't like, oh hey, what's up? How are you? Blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. Just tell me what you want.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, the majority of my time working at this pizza shop, it was mostly positive. It's just it wasn't in like the best area, I guess. And I mean, it's right downtown, you know, but it's like the people that I worked with are not, you know, you live in Florida. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
But I guess the first thing I can talk about, considering why, I mean, I made good money, so that's why I liked the job, and it wasn't a difficult job, but I also kind of hated it for a large amount of reasons. One, when I first started working there, I was a cashier. There weren't really hostesses because it was such a small restaurant, but it was like a thing where people went up to the counter to pay for their ticket afterwards. It's not like not like individual servers wouldn't like bring people their bill and grab the card and bring it up and cash them out. You know, it was like everybody always went up to the cash register, and that's just like how they did it. So I was a cashier there for a few months before I switched to being a server. And obviously you make way less money, and also you have to be good at math, which I wasn't. And I sucked at math. I was so terrible at the stupid cash register. It gave me anxiety every single time I worked the shift till the day I left. Like I could, and it's not that I'm like horrifically bad, but basically they had this ancient stupid cash register, and it's like it doesn't even have like, you know, a real screen or anything. It's just like, oh, you know what the like you have to memorize all the prices for every single thing on the menu, and then, you know, when you get a ticket, you just, you know, type in.
Did they have like the menu that you could reference like next to it, or not really?
Yeah. No, yeah, I had a menu next to me basically at all times. And you know, most of it was pretty simple. Like if somebody got 2 slices of pizza, it's like $4.99 or whatever it was. But like when you get into like the more obscure dishes, it's frustrating, because you have like a huge line of people that are all wanting to cash out and leave, but they can't leave because the cashier has to like know exactly what all the prices are and then type it into this stupid thing. You have to hit the button, and then it shows you the total. You get, you know, and the cash. It's just so stupid. And very often I would have a short cash register for no other reason other than that I just sucked at running. Like it's not like I was stealing money out of there. I sucked at running this stupid thing.
Oh no!
It was such a stupid, convoluted process. And I hate it. It just didn't make sense. And you know, like it's like a local Italian family that runs the shop, and it's like they they don't like the idea of like updating to a new system, even though they definitely make enough money to update to a new system. So they just keep the old stuff and they just run it like they always have, that kind of deal. Yeah, and I hated it, and I got in trouble all the time because the cash register was short, and like sometimes the worst part is like sometimes I would train people on the cash register, and you know, by the time I was training people to do it, I wasn't bad at it. It's just that, you know, sometimes it just happens, and these people, even like the other servers and stuff, they would get so incredibly mad if I or somebody else just was the cash register short. Mostly because the servers or like, you know, the hired people would know that they would get screamed at. If, you know, if the owners, there were 3 owners, if the owners found out that the cash register was short, they were gonna flip out because they assumed you were stealing, right?
Oh no, that's oh my god, I can definitely.
It was awful.
That's definitely the worst feeling. Like, it's one thing to have like customers hate you and scream at you, and it's the worst. That's also really bad, which I'll get into my stories later. But like, it's even worse when like basically if it's such a stressful environment that like your coworkers are mad at you. That's the worst feeling, because then you got to see them on Monday, and like you still, at least for me, because I'm a very, obviously understand that everyone gets heated and anxious like during, it's a very working in a restaurant is a very high stress work environment for everyone involved. But like with my anxiety, I'm like, oh my god. Like, I remember one time, and sorry, I'll try and be brief with this story, but like this was a very busy day, and like we basically had like a bridal shower in one particular room of the restaurant, which took up a lot of space, and like a lot of spaces. So like when it was a day when we had like a lot of big parties that I had to organize and stuff, and it was just because we had so little space, and like I don't know, it was just so stressful, and like building, because I would have, one of my responsibilities was like I would have to build tables, and I would often have to wait for 2 or 3 tables at a time to get up so I could like push enough tables together to fit enough people, and that's really stressful when I have to do that over and over and over again. It's really stressful on the servers, understandably, because like they want to get paid. They don't want to just have this open table, and they think I'm just forgot to seat them, which obviously is never the case, especially when we have a huge line. It's just like it's just so stressful. And like I remember one day it was really, really bad. All of the servers were mad at me about something, and on top of it, it was a particular day that was an anniversary for the death of one of our very close family members. So on top, and obviously I couldn't tell anyone. I didn't know how to tell anyone. How do you tell people like, hey, please don't yell at me on my so and so died 4 years ago? Like, how do you say that to people who probably don't care that much?
It's stupid. I've experienced that too, where it's like I'm kind of like on those days, you know, I'm kind of like off, and I'm not quite on point and what all. And people just get mad at you, and it's like, you know what? I don't even care. I can't care, right? Yeah. Like, this is not my top priority right now. So
exactly.
I relate to that.
Yeah. Sorry for interrupting you. Do you have anything else to say before I jump in?
Oh, I got all sorts of stuff, but we can kind of go back and forth. Anyway, okay. So concerning cash register shortages, I remember there was this one time where I was training somebody on the cash register, and I mean, sure, if I'm being perfectly honest, I am kind of like a multitasking kind of person, and I knew that she wasn't like incompetent. Like, she had a question, I would ask her, but she like needed to learn on the job, and having somebody right there is, you know, helpful and whatnot. But there wasn't a lot I could do just standing there. Like, all I had to do was stand there and watch her for 6 hours, right? So a lot of times I would just like have like a legal pad right next to me, and I'd be thinking about, oh, like, this is a thing that I need to do for school, and oh, I should really contact this person about this, and I'm just kind of like thinking about other things. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Sure, that's fine. So end of the night comes, and the drawer is potentially short by a large margin. We're not sure exactly what the number is yet. And I was I was sitting there because I assumed because I guess I forgot to mention, if your drawer is short, you have to pay for it, like out of your own pocket.
That's awful.
Which I don't think that's like legal. I don't know how that works. But anyway, I assumed because she was running the cash register that she would have to pay for it. So one of the servers, who was like super, super, super good at math, she came up and she was like, trying to help us figure it out. And she was like, oh yeah, it's going to be short. Like it was obvious that she was annoyed and mad and whatever, just because it's a high stress situation, because the owners would find out and get even more mad. Yeah. And I was telling the person who was training, I was like, no, don't worry, I'll split it with you, I'll help you pay for it. I was like trying to be nice, like assuming that because she was running the register, she would have to pay for it. And but then the server that was helping me, she whipped back and screamed at me. She was like, no, you're gonna have to pay for it.
What?
Like, this is your fault, you're gonna have to pay for it.
I'm very bad at hiding when I'm very stressed and upset about something, so I was just like standing up there like like very deeply breathing. Thankfully, like there was one small party that I sat and they said to me like, I'm so sorry that lady yelled at you, that was so rude and I feel so bad. Which thankfully there were always some night, I'm not saying all the customers were terrible, some of them would like pick up on like Karen things and be like, yeah, she was being so rude to you, and I was like, thank you.
Yeah,
but yeah, that was a really bad time. Yeah, exactly. Like, because, oh god,
crying.
Yeah,
so it was the drawer, by the way, for all of that anxiety, the drawer was $10 short.
Oh my god.
And I paid them $10.
That's
and
so
rude.
rude.
She didn't help me. But the thing is like, I feel like I always got the short end of the stick sometimes when it came to like the cashier, because sometimes I would train people very often, because I was, at least for those first few months, I was on the cash register fairly often, and it was just the most annoying thing on the planet, because like I would kind of sacrifice my money to be nice to people, right? Like as if I'm like running the register and I have like a trainee behind me, they don't get any of my tips, right? Because you get like a small percentage of tips for like the to-go orders and stuff that you run. And I would always split my tips with the trainee, just to like make them feel welcome and all of those things. But then stuff like that would happen. I'm like, you know what? This just sucks. Like, I just feel like I'm
if that is legal, it shouldn't be. Like, I feel like obviously you were making a lot of money, and maybe this is how most restaurants work. This was not my experience literally at all. But I also worked for like a small chain of restaurants in my like state, or like the Midwest area. Yeah. So I think that's a different environment as opposed to like a very small local pizza place. But that still shouldn't be legal. That's not ethically okay for you to lose some money while you're working at your own job, if that makes sense.
Right, yeah. And then, yeah, if your drawer was short, like, some of the servers that had been there for a long time when I first started working there would be like, oh, yeah, I've definitely had to pay, like, $100 before to even out the cash register. But the thing is, like, it's so incredibly possible that those discrepancies in the cash register were incredibly, like, just, like, mathematical errors. And it's like... I mean, sure, maybe sometimes it's not, right? But if you accidentally put in like 100 instead of 10 and the cash register is $100 short, all you did was just give them $100. Like, it's not like they were losing any money in terms of like stock of food or anything like that. It just was really annoying all the way. Anyway, why don't you tell us another story and then I'll go back to
you. Okay.
I'll fill in. I've got some more.
Okay.
I got some more. So I think one of the main issues that I had with working at this place, and it's funny because a lot of your issues are coming from customers and like customers being mean, and I did have some of that, but the majority of my issues came from the internal staff. I just had so much trouble with it, and I don't know why. And I think one of the most frustrating things, and again, this does not go for every server I worked with. I want to be very clear, especially just in case like somebody that I worked with and is watching. This is not specific to like every single person I worked with, but the worst part of being a server for me was just the cattiness. Ooh, it was just unbelievable. Nice.
Sorry. Oh god. This is why never mind. Okay, keep going.
I think that just being around a lot of women, and all of them are like, you know, buddy, but then as soon as they turn their backs to each other, they hate each other and they think they're terrible people. It's just so obnoxious. Yeah. Because I'm kind of like a quiet person. I don't really subscribe to stuff like that. And I was never really like super good friends with any of the people that I worked with. I had like one or two that I really enjoyed working with, and I still kind of keep in contact with some of them now. But for the most part, like, it was just basically a business transaction, but people would pretend like they were friends. Like,
oh no.
It's like, I get it, you know, but you don't have to like pretend. You're just here to do your job. It was just so obnoxious. Like, I remember, I can't remember anything specific, but like I just remember they would always just be so buddy, and then they would get off work and they'd be like, I hate this person, they're so annoying. Anyway, I hated that. That was my least favorite, because I'd be sitting here like, I'm just trying to get this person a wine. Like, you know, it was so annoying. Another thing is getting time off. Like, you said your work was really good about that. Mine was not, and it was mostly just because it was a family business and they were understaffed a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And that just like is what it is. I understand that they're just doing their jobs and they know that I am a person who can potentially work, so they're just trying to, you know, fill in those gaps. Like, I get it. It's not anybody's particular fault, but they definitely could have like gone about it better. You know what I mean? Like, I remember one time I had to get off for a performance. Yeah. And, you know, that just happens sometimes. I guess this was when I first started working there, so part of it is my fault. I like put it on the calendar that I was gonna be performing on like this day in November or whatever. So I put it on the calendar, and then a few weeks beforehand, they tell me that they see it. Or no. It was like a week beforehand. I don't think I had specifically said to anybody like, hey, I need this day off, because I wrote it on the calendar. I thought that you were just supposed to write it on the calendar. So, you know what? I'll take the blame for that. It was technically partially my fault. But they were just terribly mean about it. They're like, no. You can't just like not ask off for something and then expect to get it off. And then they sent like a big group chat. Like, they sent this big group message to everybody, not saying that it was specifically me, but it was like, you know, kind of pointed at me. But like, they did everything they could to get it covered, which I very much appreciated at the time. But I literally was about to straight up quit if they told me I had to work. I was like,
yeah,
okay,
basically,
like, because I mean, yes, and I understand.
Yeah, because like you were a full-time music student at the time, and you literally had to be a present at your performances in order to get your grade. So it was like, I don't know what they expected from you. Like, and
it wasn't like a choice. It wasn't like you're going to a Lady Gaga concert. You know? It's not what it is, right?
Yeah, I am curious too, because like obviously you had a lot of those situations. I know you had a lot of situations where like you had to ask for performances off and stuff. But like, what would they do if you were literally sick? Would they like give you a guilt trip if you were sick?
Ooh, I got some info for you.
Oh no.
And again, this really isn't like their fault mostly. It's more so a symptom of the problem than it is about any individual person, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, one time I was sick with the flu, violently ill with the flu. And it was 2 days before a massive performance. And I was like, I need to go to the hospital right now and get some meds, get something, because I'm not missing this performance. Like, it can't happen. Like, it just can't, right? So it was the one day I was supposed to work in the week, and I was like, hey, I'm so sorry. I have the flu. I'm violently ill. I need to go to the ER. Like, I need to go to the hospital. And they called me and was like, you need to not do this again.
What?
Like, okay, I'll try.
It's
so frustrating.
Disgusting.
You know, and maybe I'm being insensitive to the fact that maybe the reason why a lot of them are like that is because the majority of people lie about stuff like that. But I was like, listen, dude, I gave them. Like,
do they want you to give a doctor's note? Oh, well, did you actually have to do that? Like, which that makes sense, I guess, if they want to know for sure.
I don't think they ended up taking it, but I definitely gave them one. But it was just so obnoxious. And I get part of it is just because it's a family restaurant and they don't have a lot of staff to just cover on a whim, right?
Yeah, that's terrible.
So I get it. But, you know, there were at least, 4 or 5 times over the course of me working there where I was very, very ill and I still had to work.
That's terrible.
You know,
like
and especially now after COVID, like that makes me feel sick to my stomach.
That's
like,
awful.
I can't even imagine that.
No, literally at the restaurant that I worked at for 3 years. Sorry, I keep saying that, but I'm afraid if people get confused. But I don't think people get confused. But no, literally, like it was never a problem. If I was like, hey, I've been really ill, I've been vomiting, whatever the situation was, especially vomiting. But like my managers literally would not let me work, even if I wanted to, which I never did if I was that sick. But they were like, yeah, no, I can't let you into the building if you have been vomiting for the past 48 hours. I'm literally not allowed to because of health code reasons. And then yeah, exactly. It's literally illegal, at least in Michigan.
Oh my God, you have. I mean, it's kind of cute that you worked at a place that followed health code.
Yeah, God.
Yeah,
Oh man.
It's so frustrating. I hated that. Like having to take time off for any reason, whether or not I asked off for it 2 months in advance, 2 weeks in advance, or I was just sick. It was always a problem.
That's
Every
horrible.
single time. Anyway, I have a couple more stories, but do you want to share a little bit more?
Yeah, I can share a little bit more. Basically after this, all I want to rant about is working in a restaurant in a post-COVID world, because it was not, oh my God, because, obviously we shut down in March, and after the initial everything happened, and we were closed until until summer.
Not from my experience, because I'm not working in a restaurant currently, but from people around me, let's just say, people who don't take it seriously.
Yeah.
It's just so frustrating because you and I are high risk, at least to a certain extent. We're not old, right? But we both have pretty chronic adult asthma, which is a respiratory condition, right?
Yeah.
So both of us are scared of getting it, and if we were to get it, it could be detrimental, knock on wood. But I guess it's just so annoying because you have the right to know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. My restaurant did take COVID precautions relatively seriously. All the staff always had to wear a mask, and we were very strict about wiping everything down, things like that. So it's not like they didn't do anything, but there were still issues, there were problems where we would have every other table blocked off, and especially with the big tables, we could no longer push tables together, which was something I was used to doing. We could literally no longer push tables together. If we had a table more than 6, we were supposed to seat them at different tables or split them up into different tables. That was what we were supposed to do. And yeah, the first, people did not like that. The first couple months, no one liked that. And I really had to be very strict. There's nothing I can do. We have, it was rough, especially if it was a party of, because the biggest tables we had would seat up to 6, but if I had a party of 7, I would still technically have, at least at first, I was under the assumption I had to split them up, and they did not like that at all. Why can't we just squeeze here? And it's because reasons, you won't be 6 feet apart, whatever. People were horrible about that, and just trying to move their own tables together, and it was just so disrespectful, and especially when people didn't take it seriously. A lot of the customers just didn't take it very seriously and thought we were dumb for taking it so seriously. Exactly. That was a lot of our customers. But it was very frustrating, and even more it got to a point where and I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. I don't think it's a very good thing, but it got some one of our, it was also that with the tables, it was very difficult because one of our our assistant manager would be just seat 7 or 8 people here. It doesn't matter, just seat 7 or 8 people here. I don't care. She even made a joke I'm greedy, I want you to put more people here. And that was okay. But then I had another my other manager was no, you can't do that. We'll get sued. And I was I don't know. And I literally had a server come up to me and she's why did you seat 7 people at that table? I'm because I don't know what the right answer is. People are telling me different things, and it was just so frustrating. And one of our managers would talk about, obviously they still follow the rules, but she would be yeah, the governor isn't being very nice to restaurants, and I'm oh my God. I don't know, man. I like Big Crutch. I don't know what you want me to say. That's all I can say. Yeah. But a big thing too was okay, so one of our coworkers got COVID, and yeah. And here's the thing, my management did take it, they did make all the right decisions for the most part. They were in constant contact with the health department, and they they as soon as they knew, they didn't let that person on the schedule anymore, so no one else got sick, and they did everything they're supposed to do. The health department told them, hey, you don't have to shut down, it's okay, yeah, all that stuff. The problem was they didn't tell us. The management did not make a formal announcement by the way, guys, so and so got sick, can I would suggest you get tested, whatever. They just didn't tell us, and we didn't even know if this person was sick for a long time. It was we heard this person might be sick, or maybe they weren't. We didn't know. I didn't know until someone who used to work at that restaurant posted on their Instagram story hey, here's a list of restaurants in the so-and-so area that have had COVID cases, and we were on it, and it was I should not find out that my restaurant has had a COVID case from Instagram. I should find out from my management. And it was just so frustrating. It felt like a really big breach of like trust. It was like, are you just not going to tell us when people get sick just because you want to keep running? And again, like I said, I think they handled it perfectly, except for the part where they didn't tell us what was going on. So it was just really frustrating. It was like, I think it just felt like a really big breach of trust phase. I loved BuzzFeed. And I know they're so cringy now, obviously. Maybe they always have been. But when I was a teenager, I was like, BuzzFeed's cool. BuzzFeed's fun. BuzzFeed's hip with... Anyway, sorry. So basically, they posted a video, I think it was about like servers talking about their experiences, right? And random restaurants. And it was like in one of the shots, it was like one woman and one man on the panel. I say panel as if it's really at the table, if it's like a professional. Anyway, she was talking about how like this man was flirting with her at work and it made her really uncomfortable. She was like, yeah, this was really like uncomfortable experience because he kept flirting with me and trying to get my number, and it was really gross. And then the man next to her in the video, he was like, what are you talking about? I wish I could get flirted with at work. That sounds awesome. And it's like, what is wrong? Oh my God, you have to be so tone deaf not to understand that women don't want to be flirted with at their place of work. That's really disrespectful, and it's like you're just objectifying. It's just so, oh my God, the level of privilege. Right. I just can't handle it. Anyway, like maybe get the virus because someone isn't wearing a mask, and it's more, from my understanding, it's more, likely that I would get sick from someone not wearing a mask than, I don't know how to explain it. You know what I mean? Like, people not wearing a mask are more spreading it more. Words are hard.
I know what you mean.
Wearing a mask doesn't protect you. It protects the people around you. Right. So I could do that, or I could yell at someone and make them wear a mask, and someone could pull a gun on me.
Yeah, I have two more stories. So the first one is about the whole doing drugs in the bathroom thing that I dropped at the beginning.
Oh, no.
And this kind of is just a general story about how naive I am. Because... basically, we hired this girl, and she was like so nice. She was super, super, super nice. She was older than me, and I think she was just trying to look for money. I don't think she was like, rich or anything like that. But she was incredibly nice to me. I was the person who trained her on the cash register. I did all of those things. I was good. We weren't like best friends or anything, but she was a very nice person, and I enjoyed talking with her at work, and whatnot. She worked there for a few months, and she was very, 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 attentive to the people around her. She was always good. She never became a server. She was only ever a cash register person, but she was always very attentive with customers. She was always very nice to them, whatnot. As soon as she walked out of earshot, all of the servers would start talking about how she was crazy. Like, they hated her, and she was insane, and they thought that she was, like, doing drugs in the bathroom.
Oh, no.
And at one point before that, she told me that she was taking like, Tylenol or something or whatever, to help with migraines or something. And I thought, these servers are so mean to this girl because she's not like, she's not exactly she's not like super in with all of them. She's not like a part of their like posse, whatever. It really kind of bothered me. I was like, this lady's super nice, and you guys are being just complete jerks to her. Come to find out,
oh no.
After I had become a server, I found out one day that she got fired. Like straight up fired on the spot, and I was like, why? Apparently she was stealing from the servers. Like,
man.
Basically, the way it worked is like somebody gave you, you rang up a ticket, and then you stapled like the handwritten ticket to like the printed ticket, and then people would write down the tip, and then you would have to enter the tip into the system, right? So she would do this thing where she would like enter the tip in, and then she would stash it away. And then she would pull the money right there, and she'd stick it in her pocket. And like they caught her doing it, and also that she was like doing drugs, whatnot. I don't know exactly, but I just remember thinking like, oh my God, I'm an idiot.
Oh no!
I can't believe, because she was so nice. I was like, I can't wrap my brain around this. But. For months, I was so mad about how they were so mean to her, and they were totally right.
Oh
like,
man,
she was basically committing like grand theft, stealing lots of money from the servers. So yeah, that was that story. Okay, I've saved the best one for last. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm very ready.
So, I still can't even believe this happened. This is my last story concerning the serving topic. And hopefully I'll never have to talk about this again because it's my least favorite thing that's ever happened in my entire life.
I'm so sorry.
So basically what happened was I was taking a table and just like, you know, a normal couple, whatever. It was a man and a woman, took their order, you know, got them their food. Their total came up to like $20. And they ate and they left and they didn't pay.
Oh my God.
And basically at this, that's a kind of terrible situation no matter what restaurant you work at.
No one wants to be
for
in.
Me, the worst sin you could commit at this store and the thing that would get you the most in trouble with the owners is somebody walking out on a ticket because they're like, oh, you're supposed to watch them or you're supposed to do that, as if we could have.
It's not your fault.
Anything.
Yeah,
we
exactly.
have an honor system. Like if that were the case, you know, you would have a system where the servers would bring the ticket to them and they would have to pay like that. But you have an honor system where people have to go up to the cash register, and 99.99999% of the time they do, right? But just this one time, it was my table. I took their order and they walked out on it. And for me, I was like, oh God, I guess I'm going to get in trouble. But at this point, I was kind of thinking about like leaving. Like, I only had like 2 months left working there.
Heather's just over here like, here's my opportunity.
No. But
maybe not really.
I was like, okay, they walked out on a ticket. I can pay for the ticket. And that's just is what it is. I'm just going to have to pay for it. That's just is what it is. I don't care. So then I was terrified to tell them because of whatever. So one of the other servers was like, it's okay. I can do it. So the server who decided to told them it was my fault. Like, it wasn't like she was taking the fall for me, right?
Yeah,
I told
see.
them for me to kind of like loosen that blow. You know what I mean? And for the record, this person worked there for like 15 years. This person had been there for a very, very long time. She knew the server, or she knew the owners very well. They had been friends. They had gone to Thanksgiving together. Like, they were like good. Like, they were in each other's lives, like a substantial amount, because she worked there so often, right? So she goes back there and she's like, oh, hey, this happened. And you hear them start screaming and like, getting into it. And I was like out, like, you know, trying to do my job and like just kind of like freaking out internally, like, oh my God, I'm gonna get in trouble. Called me back there. One of the owners kind of started like laying into me. He was like, what do you mean it's just gone? Like, the ticket doesn't just disappear. Were you not watching them? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't know what happened. Like, I was just being very matter of fact, and I wasn't getting upset. And I was like, listen, I can just pay for the ticket. It's that simple. Like, it was $20. Like, who cares?
That's true.
It's $20.
Yeah.
And I wasn't about to, like, you know, sacrifice my mental health for them to sit there and scream at me over $20.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
And then they proceeded to scream at you over $20.
Yeah, and exactly. But the thing is, they didn't scream at me for very long because I didn't care. like I was very like professional about it, and I didn't get upset, and I didn't start screaming at them, being like, I don't think I deserve to pay this. Blah, blah, blah. I think they were basically just looking for a fight.
No.
And I was not giving them that fight, so they went elsewhere. So the woman who originally like kind of told them, again, had been working there for years. Quit on the spot.
Oh my God.
She literally,
I forgot about that part. Oh my God.
It was the end of the night, and they were getting into it and we were talking about it a little, and I was like trying to tell her, like, it's okay, like, it's fine, I'll just pay for the ticket. And she's like, I know you can just pay for the ticket. I understand you can do that, but that's not the point. The point is that they're taking your money. That's not legal. You know, you're not supposed to do that. That's not okay. Again, I'm not sharing the name of this restaurant for a reason, or any of them for that matter. I don't want anything like to happen. And you know, this is only going to be listened to by a dozen people. Doesn't matter. Either way. She was like, it's the principle of the thing. You should not have to pay for a ticket if somebody walks out on it. It's not okay. It doesn't matter if it's only $20. And she's not wrong. I was just kind of trying to diffuse the situation. Like, everybody was getting incredibly angry. Everybody was screaming. The customers could hear people screaming in the back.
Oh no.
And it was terrible. And I was like, I'll just pay the stupid ticket. Like, it doesn't need to be this big thing. And she was like, And apparently, one of the owners said something really mean to her or whatnot, and she was like, "I'm done. I quit."
That's crazy. Honestly, good for her. I hope she's okay. I hope she's doing well.
She was a full-time nurse. She just worked there for extra money.
Oh, hell yeah. Good for
So
her.
she just quit, and I was like, pop off. Because, I mean, and I was kind of like on her coattails in that way. I was just like, this is completely ridiculous. Because she was right. You shouldn't have to pay for that.
Yeah, honestly, sounds like she was doing them a favor, and then they really showed like, hey, we don't care about the well-being of our employees, and she was like, I'm leaving. Then you don't deserve my help. Goodbye.
Yeah,
I know you're understaffed, and I don't care. I'm gonna go back to my super cool nursing job. Heck yeah.
Right. And again, it's not like I'm not like sitting here trying to trash talk this restaurant that I used to work for. Like, it's fine. And I get it, you know, they're, you know, losing money, you know, we're losing money. It sucks. It sucks all around, and it's a high stress situation. That being said, like, it wasn't okay. Like, it was incredibly stress inducing to be in that situation where you're always underneath that person's thumb, and you always feel like you're going to get in trouble for something, even if it's not particularly your fault. Like, what was I going to do? Like, run after them and scream at them? And you know, like,
exactly.
There's only so much I can do. I didn't notice that they were gone, and it's like they expect you to always be watching all of the tables, and that's just not, at least from my limited understanding as a beginner, not necessarily advanced server, but good at my job. Like, you're juggling a lot of things all at once, and I'm not saying that's an excuse, whatever, doesn't matter. Point is, they were sat right next to the door, so they probably just walked out. You want to know what the best part of the situation is?
Oh no, what?
Like a month later, the people who walked out came in and gave me $20.
Wait, did they like forget? Wait, did they realize?
They just forgot to pay their tab.
And they told you like, hey, we forgot a couple weeks ago. Wait, it was a couple weeks? That's like a really long time to like forget to pay.
Time, you're right. But I just so happened to be working the night that they came in. And one of the servers that also worked that night, she was like, oh my God, the people came in and they're going to give you your money back. And I was like, yeah, they gave me my money back. It was $20. I didn't care. But like,
that's kind of awesome though.
It is awesome, and it was great, but the thing is like, again, it's the principle of the thing. You lost one of your best servers over $20.
That's
like,
insane.
It's just so not worth it. It's not worth the stress. I get it. You know, it's your business, is your livelihood, but like, chill out. You know, and you know, maybe if I were a business owner, I would have a different feeling about it. But anyway, those were a couple of my experiences as like a server for a longer period of time. I enjoyed the job itself, but concerning like the staff and the management and whatnot, it was a total nightmare, and I hated it.
Nice.
But anyway,
all right, well,
thanks for sitting back and overreacting.
Oh yeah, we overreacted so much in this episode.
We're gonna have to put like a trigger warning at the beginning, like, we're gonna talk about bad customer service stories, and if that gives you anxiety, maybe don't watch it.
Honestly, it does for me. I literally had to delete TikTok because I kept getting recommended like people like reenacting horrible customer service stories, and I understand they're funny and people are creative and they do a good job, but it's also like, oh my God, it just genuinely gave me anxiety to hear like people being these supposedly real experience. I don't know, the internet has fake stories, but like it would make 100%. Me so anxious, like, oh my God.
That's the exact reason why I deleted TikTok too. I cannot stand those, because it's like, you want to know, you want to be angry at the other person, you want to be angry with the person with like the big filter on their face, whatever, it doesn't matter. That's literally why I had to delete TikTok. I can't do stuff like that. So we'll definitely put a trigger warning at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, week, months, blah, blah. Yeah. Okay, bye.
Bye.